So as I was just saying in the previous video right before this one about Sandy Jadea and his market forecast and May 11th, the guy's got an incredible track record. There's no doubting that. You can look at his record. But he said May 11th would be right around that date or on that date, whatever, should be news, something to let us know, is this big market crash here or not, because this is in line with the cycle that he follows. And I read a few articles there's some bad news for the markets for sure based off these three articles. Plus the Dow started the day down like it has not done in at least a couple of weeks or so on the date he said to look for, which was interesting. You can add this video that I'm doing right now, even though this is a Webbot hit video, you could add this headline to the last video because it's a pretty important one. And how are things looking economically? Are the markets going to be doing great? Well, let me read you the headline, and let me ask you if you think this would be good news for the markets. Connecticut state capital prepares for bankruptcy amid collapse in hedge fund revenue. Connecticut state capital prepares for bankruptcy amid collapse in hedge fund revenue. And this does have to do with tax revenues, by the way. So I'm going to read you this article real quick. Let me see how long this one is. Yeah, it's not too long. And then I'm going to read you from the April 2017 Clif Webbot report, because it mentions things about tax revenue loss. The state of Connecticut has been hit hard by a double whammy of a deteriorating local economy, coupled with a plunge in hedge fund profits, as well as hedge fund managers permanently relocating to Florida. Pablo, honey, please come to Florida. Leading to a collapse in tax revenues. According to the latest Connecticut budget released last week, the state is reeling from the consequences of sliding tax revenue from the super rich, i.e. the state's hedge fund managers. The latest figures showed that tax revenue from the state's top 100 highest paying taxpayers declined 45% from 2015 to 2016. The drop adds up to a $200 million revenue loss for Connecticut. And isn't Connecticut Sandy Hook, Connecticut? Newtown? The fake hoax shooting? Do I feel bad about the state capitol? Governor who knew about it too? Wolfgang Halbig tried to corner him and he ran like a rat. Anyways, different story. In a dramatic, if of questionable credibility, soundbite department of Revenue Services Commissioner Kevin Sullivan says these wealthy people are dramatically less wealthy than they were before. He was referring to annual income, not actual asset holdings, because judging by the all-time high in the S&P, of course the Dow Jones, the local financial elite have never had a higher net worth. Quote, when you look up at the top 75, top 50, this is a group of wealthy people who are dramatically less wealthy than they were before, he said. These folks, for a number of reasons, are either not realizing as much income or don't have as much income. Just don't expect tears from the general public. Sullivan also noted how several international hedge funds have recently failed, resulting in significant retrenchment. Hang on. I gotta rant. I just had an email coming from YouTube. While I'm doing this video, it's time to rant. You may have known a few days ago, I did a video titled, Realist News, Spain's government presses property bubble rewind button, subsidies incoming. That was my title, and that's what it was about. No trickery from Jason 4. I don't make clickbait titles and then you come in and, oh, you didn't even talk about that. Oh, this is fake. Nope. I talked 100% about that. I scroll down my list. Demonetized. Which one was that? What? They demonetized that one? No, this is a joke. No, it's not a joke. It's demonetized. Let me click monetize tab. Check this box if you think this was demonetized, and you improperly and that the video needs a, to have a second look. Do it again. I just told you this the other day. Do it again. Okay. Email just came in, 9:10 p.m. Eastern Time. Hi, JSNIP4. After reviewing your video, we determined that the content in your video and video details are advertiser friendly. As a result, your video can be monetized. But how many views did it get during the time it was demonetized? Because you don't send me an email anymore telling me, hey, this video has been demonetized. I have to go check my whole front page of upload videos, which is the last several days. Anything standing out? Am I getting screwed over here from this ad revenue, which already sucks because the advertiser's pulling out? Oh, there's one demonetized. And I'll be honest with you, as I've said before, this is not the first time that's happened. It's not the second time. This has happened numerous times. And each and every time that I hit that button as, hey, check this out again, I think you're wrong, I get an email like that. Hey, JSNIP4, sorry about that. Basically, not even a sorry about that. Simply, after reviewing your video, we determined that the content is, in fact, advertiser friendly. Right, but how many views did it get? How much money did I lose potentially from advertiser revenue because you turn it off and now you turn it back on? But now that you turn it back on, it took you all day to turn it back on. Sorry about my luck. I guess that's just how it goes, right? But it got turned back on. Isn't that amazing? So I'm hoping maybe one day, whoever works there or however the algorithm goes, wait a minute, this is that guy JSNIP4. He has never, ever been wrong when he hits that button to review it. Let's have our spiders, bots, whatever, that analyze pages. Let's have him, give him a break. Yeah, right. Anyways. Right, so, and then we're dealing with this crap because of the advertisers. We're going to come back if you fix this problem of having our ads showing up on bad content and gross content and extremist content and death stuff. And okay, your ad may have come up in a 0.00001% of the time that it was showed somewhere. That's pretty damn good for a computerized algorithm, not a human being checking all these videos. It was fine the way it was. No, we don't want. We'll do anything for you guys. Come back. We'll really hammer it down and change our algorithm to be way more aggressive. And now you're cutting off your revenue from a different way. Not because the advertisers left, but because the video ads aren't showing up on legitimate videos. You just got hit with a double-edged sword. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. And some of them advertisers have still said, we still don't think we want to come back. Thanks for changing. We still think we're just going to go somewhere else. Isn't that amazing? So anyways, I don't need to read this whole thing. Tax income because of this they're being devastated. However, as noted above, this itself has its own problems with a more than $2 billion budget gap estimated for next year. It is unclear whether there is support in the General Assembly for bailing out Hartford. Excuse me. So, Hartford wouldn't be the first city in Connecticut to seek Chapter 9 protection. Bridgeport filed for bankruptcy in 1991, but a federal judge dismissed the petition, saying the city was capable of paying its bills. Other cities that have filed since include, not since, but before this, Detroit, Stockton, and San Bernardino, and nearby Central Falls, Rhode Island. So they got a tiny income tax to the state problem. Okay. So let me pull this up now to tell you what the Webbot said about all this. Okay. April Webbot report. It starts off, I'm going to start off in Canada Pop because it does mention some stuff for Canada Pop. Then it goes right into USA Pop. Canadian real estate is emerging in the data sets as an explosion. These sets have both commercial and residential real estate going into an explosive geyser that is showing as one of three major economic brittle areas. Only Canada associated one. Other two are China real estate excesses and global political investment that are indicated to be the global pivot into crashing currencies and deflationary wave. These sets have the Canadian real estate market reaching a stage of crack-up, boom, followed by a short gap of no new activities, then a sudden slump downward in both price and sales. These sets are arguing for a period of only weeks in which the language is forecast to switch directions, such that the discussion will suddenly include discounts and price reduction and plunging sales and failing bank loans and rolling back sales. Speaking of failing bank loans, this is a double Webbot hit. Remember the bank in Canada I was telling you about? The non-bank mortgage financer lender that had to get this massive bailout from another company that the guy who was the CEO of that company sits on the board of the other company or something. We're going to use them. And it's a pension fund. We're going to use the pension fund to give us a loan to bail us out. It was a mortgage financial company that was gone. It was done. It was dead. And then they got this, back from the grave loan at 22 up to 22%. And then other mortgage lenders like them took it on the chin too because their stocks crashed. And that company was down 65% one day. I don't even know where it ended. Hadn't even followed it. But that's funny because it says in failing bank loans. It's kind of like that, right? That's not why I'm doing this video. But as I'm reading this, it dawned on me, oh yeah, speaking of Canada, that was a Canadian mortgage company that did that. Yeah, okay. And rolling back sales, there are a number of new sets for government schemes and banking incentives, but the data sets have supporting subsets for the real estate market scheme to be hitting a wall within mere days of its inception. These sets have the national politicians being accused of all sorts of corruption over the real estate facts that are forecast to emerge as the banking implosion of real estate loans begins to overturn local tax base stability. So there's the tax thing. That's really why I put that one in Canada pop in here. It's almost irrelevant, but it's not. I mean, it's mentioned. But this one, USA Pop. There are sets for some areas to have property prices fall to the level that raw land, even in large areas or tracts, will be offered for trade, as the prospects for cash sales will be dwindling daily. These sets have new supplies of recently foreclosed houses being dumped onto the local market by both banks and foreign buyers. These latter sets are suggesting that foreign owners are going to be also cash squeezed and will also want to get out from under the dropping prices of their foreign holdings property in the USA. These sets also have a very rapid response within the markets as it describes wary owners and jittery sellers combining to be pushing markets price boundaries very rapidly. These sets are suggesting that the market is going to feel like a race or contest for the buyer, for the last buyer. Further sets are suggesting that all cash is going to become the norm as the bank lending into USA Pop will be cratering as the banks hit liquidity walls. These sets also have some numbers in which reported sales will be occurring for multiple $1 million properties for real cash that amounts to 20% of the financed asking price. So you got $200,000 house? I'll give you $40K for it. Cash. All cash deal, man. Same time, man. I don't know you, man. Same time, man. Boom. $40K. That's what he's saying. These sets and others have growing presence in the USA Pop set going forward as the real estate market crash in the greater USA Depression. These sets also have the municipal and local governance bodies being freaked out over the collapsing tax base. In many of the sets, we have the freak out hitting this summer as the collapsing tax base meets budget planning for the upcoming fiscal year. These sets have the 20 cents on the dollar meme becoming a fear chant in government offices as they consider 80% reduction in revenue. You better hope that that's incorrect. Webbot, smack you in the mouth. You got that one wrong. You better hope Webbot gets that one wrong. That certain government agencies within our country, as in local, municipal, are not having conversations of tax-based revenues down to 20% from 80, you know, or what was it? Yeah, 80% reduction. So 80% leaves 20%. We used to make 100%. Now we're doing 20. Hi, my name is Jason Moore. I used to make 100% ad profit on the advertisements I played until the so-called advertisers pulled out. Now I'm down to, you know, scraps on the table, you know, on the floor, under the table. Give a guy a break. He can't make any money anymore. It's all right, though. I could be making $0 from these ads, and you ain't going to slow me down. Nobody going to slow me down. Oh, no. I got to keep on making videos. That's how Judge Stamp 4 rolls. But if you ever felt like throwing me a bone, I got my little PayPal address. I've got my Bitcoin. Anyone see Bitcoin? $868 today? Anyone catch that? Today being yesterday, and now that it's in my mind, I can't help myself but to take a look at the price. $18.28 at the moment. I will say this. Clif said $1,900. Webbot data is suggesting downward a few $100, up to $500, which would mean $1,400-$1,500 Bitcoin. I had my wallet open today, and I was sitting there, send to my Coinbase address. I was like, not all of them, but like 4 of them. Do I do it? Do I chance this and send it over there and then unload them online on Coinbase, get that cash in, let it sit there for a little bit. Bitcoin drops 15, 1600, whatever it is. Get back in on it. Instead of 4 Bitcoin, now maybe I can afford 5 Bitcoins with the same money and buy back in before it goes back up. It was tough. I'm telling you, I almost did it, and I probably should have because the Webbot's been on fire. But I didn't pull it off today, but I may end up doing it, and today being Thursday. But I may do it Friday. We'll just have to see. So, anyways, before you were so rudely interrupted by myself, you better hope your government offices are not having discussions like, guys, we're only pulling in 20% of what we used to. We got hit with the YouTube advertiser boycott, except taxpayer style. Taxpayer style. You better hope Webbot gets that wrong. Let me just tell you this. Maybe it got the numbers wrong. Maybe they were getting 100%. It's down to 80, so they lost 20%. Not that they're bringing in 20%. They're bringing in 80%, which would be just as not just as devastating one way or the other. So you can add Puerto Rico with their $70 billion that they're going to have to default on now. That's a United States territory. And you can add Connecticut. Whoops. And there will... Oh, Magic 8 Ball? Magic 8 Ball. Will there be more municipal defaults? Like Lindsey Williams talked about his daddy losing all their money when they were young in Coral Gables, Florida. Is there going to be more coming, Magic 8 Ball? Most likely. Oh, Magic 8 Ball, you're the best. God, you're so smart, Magic 8 Ball. The chasing prices sets began in model space in March and grow through the month to reach visibility in April. These sets have temporal markers that appear to be associated with the tax reports, which is to say the reports about the taxes provided to government within USAPOP. There are sets for tax revolt and tax failures and taxing system problems, all of which accrue to model space, coincident with silver price pressures and breaking away from control. Silver price pressure? You mean like them taking it from 1850 down to 1615 today? I saw the low, or at least when I looked. This is, again, when you have dinner, don't pray to God. Pray this time. I want you to pray to JP Morgan Chase. JP Morgan. Jamie Dimon, CEO. Thank you. I want to thank you for this meal because you're going to give me the most unbelievable, fantastic meals of my life when silver goes up. So I want to thank you now for absolutely clobbering the price of both gold and silver epically, because you've enabled me and other people like me to go out and buy silver even cheaper. And I'll say it again because I can't say it enough. And I do get subscribers every single day who may not have known this. Silver Doctors, one of the sites I read articles from time to time, they own sdbullion.com. Silver Doctors Bullion, SD Bullion. They gave me a page. So it's sdbullion.com/JSnip4. You will see that link in my description box. If you are a new customer of theirs to buy gold, silver, anything, you can have an opportunity to get a free 10-ounce, not free, excuse me. I wish it was free. A 10-ounce silver bar at spot price. No premium. No 39 cents over, nothing. 10 ounces of silver, essentially, at spot in one single bar. But they told me, if you mention that, just make sure everybody knows it's not the Jesus bar. It's the specific bar we have on that page. Who cares, right? Silver is silver is silver. So when I see this, and I can't help saying this, and I can't help myself. As Clif also said, when our families, kids grow up, you become a grandfather. Oh, my daughter had kids, you know. The family will be telling stories for generations. Oh, Grandpa Joe. Oh, Grandpa Clif. Oh, Grandpa whoever. They had the foresight to see what came. You remember the big crash of such and such year? And then silver went, look at this. Let me show you online. Look at what silver and gold did. It went crazy. Numbers unimaginable. And Grandpa Joe, he was smart enough to wade through all the crap and take all the brunt of the crap of people throwing out, it's never going to happen. It's never. And it happened. And you know this house that we're living in? We don't have a mortgage on it. You know why? Because Grandpa Joe Silver paid for his house, that house, and this house. And he had some Bitcoin that paid for that house because it went crazy too. I strongly believe that scenario is going to happen. You remember the story of, back in the Weimar, I think, the Weimar Republic, the little bellboy or whatever, at the hotel was tipped a single gold coin, and then the collapse happened. Massive hyperinflation. He went back and bought the hotel or something like that with one coin, the same coin he was tipped. It was worth a fortune. But that'll never happen again. They say history repeats, doesn't it? So, anyways, I can't help myself giving that deal out. They made a link especially for JSnip4. I've sent them so many people. They reached out to me, not the other way around. They reached out to me and said, listen, a lot of guys tell us that, well, guys, girls, whatever. A lot of people come to us. They tell us you're sending us, they were sending it from you. We greatly appreciate you sending people to us. So we'd like to put a special page up for your subscribers, etc. And that's a phenomenal deal. Anyways, done talking about that. So let me just read this. It's one little tiny paragraph. And since I've been yapping right now, I don't want you to forget where I left off. And I'm finishing with it. The chasing prices sets began in model space in March and grow through the month to reach visibility in April. These sets have temporal markers that appear to be associated with the tax reports, which is to say the reports about the taxes provided to government within USA POP. There are sets for tax revolt and tax failures and taxing system problems, all of which accrue to model space coincident with silver price pressures and breaking away from control. These breaking away from control sets contain data for politicians in chaos, exhaustion in the currencies. Speaking of politicians in the chaos, Trump firing this one, oh my God. Exhaustion in the currencies, exchanges underwater, currencies in crisis, societies in disarray, and sets for peaking near-term social pressures. These sets have their largest growth across late April and into May. The implication is that our breaking point has this as its most probable period of manifestation within the forecast range of the shorter-term data in his report. Side note, is the Webbot report very accurate on everything? No, it's not. No, it is not. And the timing of silver and precious metals have been way off. But the timing and price movements of cryptocurrencies has been nothing short of freaking spectacular. Spectacular. And another thing, which I just read you. How did it know this tax issue was coming up, and all of a sudden today, oh, breaking news, Connecticut verge of bankruptcy. They gave $2 billion, not millions, not 20, 30, 40, 50 million shortfall. We got to change some things around. $2 billion. Ooh, I wish them a lot of luck. Take care.